you cut me too deep. I think I'm dying here, man.
Welcome to the 3B Video Deep Cut Podcast.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes. It was fun.
Aw, yeah, it's that time again for another bi-weekly podcast with your hosts, Rotten Roger DeMarco and...
Just a 20th century guy trapped in the Middle Ages, and I'm low on gas. Evil.
Evil, the medieval. I'm gonna go medieval on his puppy dog bitches.
The medieval deadings, yeah.
Which I know you brought up when we covered the first Evil Dead, that the original title for this film was The Medieval Dead, and I think you and I both agree that is a much better title. Army of Darkness is cool, but Medieval Dead ties it together.
Yes, if that's not the title of a movie, it should be a fucking metal band.
Right.
Rename Motorhead The Medieval Dead.
Bunch of Norse dudes with fucking blonde, wavy, long hair.
Absolutely, those would be the headliners in the movie Knights of Badassdom.
Yes.
If Knights of Badassdom was a music festival, it would be headlined by the Medieval Dead.
We will cover Knights of Badassdom at some point because you and I both kind of dig that movie, even though it's not Joe Lynch's cut.
Even though, yeah, apparently Joe doesn't really a great deal.
Well, creative control gets taken from you, and you end up making Evil Dead 2.
Well, yeah, but then there's folks that claim Evil Dead 2 is their favorite of the franchise, and nobody's wrong here.
That's right. So you want to let the good folks out there in internet land know a little brief plot synopsis. I'm sure they've been following along on our journey, so they know where we're at, they know what we're doing, but... yeah, just give them a little something, and we'll get this bad boy started.
Well, we're on our part 3 of a 4-part, as of this recording, session of the Evil Dead franchise. This takes place a few years. Well, takes place a few years. It's filmed a few years after the first. After the. Goddamn. Well, I'm just as confused as the movie is because we're going to get another retelling of the original story. We're going to get another Linda. And we're going to get...
This time, Bridget Fonda.
Yeah, who just was a fan of the series and asked to be in it. So they're like, sure, you want to be the new Linda? No one gives a fuck anymore about how we're doing these, retelling these tales of previously on. So sure, fucking be Linda. So we... Picking up immediately where Evil Dead 2 ends, we revamp when he gets sucked into medieval times, not the restaurant, but actual medieval times. we do must fight to the death. So Ash is stuck in the medieval times, and by golly, he's got to find a way out. And the only way he can find a way out is from a magical spell from the Book of the Dead that he must retrieve. But of course, this is not Ash from Evil Dead. This is not really Ash from Evil Dead 2. This is the Ash that would kind of take over the persona from here on. Like this is the Ash that is prevalent in Ash versus the Evil Dead, all the games. Just what he is now is this bumbling goofball.
Yeah, this is full-blown Three Stooges Ash.
Yeah, he fucks up the words, brings upon the medieval dead on this castle. He must defend it, save his woman, then leave her ass to go in one of 2 endings to get back to his original time. We have a regular happy ending, which everyone knows about, which is on the film, and then we have this... darker ending, which kind of oddly parallels the TV series. Evil Dead?
Yeah.
Weirdly parallels Ash vs. Evil Dead, yeah. So... Yeah,
my Army of Darkness, the bootleg cut that Anchor Bay put out a few years, probably fucking 15 years ago.
That's a few
It's got
years.
all those... It's got those fucking, like, deleted scenes and whatnot, and it also has the alternate ending. Like, that's the ending on that bootleg cut. So, I saw that in high school and was like, damn, okay. Like,
So he's in Mad Max times, yeah.
yeah. Bunch of fucking big old clocks and shit.
So in this alternate ending, Ash is supposed to take a magic potion. Each drop he drinks is he sleeps for a century, and he fucks up and miscounts. Something scares him, and he takes one drop too many. So he wakes up a century past his time, and he wakes up in a version of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, like it's the apocalypse. And oh god, I slept too long.
With all the matte paintings and everything, it's fucking glorious.
Poor Ash never catches a break.
No. Although, for every, like, act of bumbling, bullshittery tomfoolery in this movie, there is, like, an equally impressive, like, heroic feat that he does, even though it's almost his heroic feats are almost done completely, like, out of cowardice. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's some way that it's so endearing when you watch it where you're like, he's a fool. He's an absolute fool. He's a fuck up. He's a jackass. But somehow, some way, Bruce Campbell makes him this very likable hero. Very unlikely likable hero.
I mean, because who of us hasn't been in some variation of the, have you got it? I got it. I got it.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. And then you get the moment of truth and you're like,
What was it?
shit.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife loves that because that is definitely my MO. Like, I just have a phrase and I go, I don't know what I'm doing. And she's like, that means you want me to do this. Like, you didn't listen. You don't know the instructions. And now you're looking for someone to take over who actually did listen. Yeah. So whenever I say, I don't know what I'm doing, that means you're it.
You should just start this necktie. Nectar.
Yeah.
Nickel.
It's definitely an N-word.
Definitely an N-word. Not that N-word.
No. We're not that kind of podcast.
No. But, I mean, aside from that, this might be the most... I mean, maybe Big Trouble in Little China, if I'm trying to think. But do you think this is, like, the most quotable film of film history?
Yes, absolutely. This movie is so quotable. I don't know what it is. I think it just appealed to our young sensibilities. It was like not overly scary. It's super goofy and fun, and again, Ash is very likable. So it feels very much like a Saturday morning cartoon. It makes you fall in love with everything, and it makes you watch it a million times. So, and those quotes just soak into you. Like, everything is quote worthy in this movie.
If there's not even I'm sure the list, if you look on IMDb, the quotes list is probably it's just a script.
Right.
Just the
Pretty
entire thing. But Saturday morning cartoon, easy gateway movie. And it was for me. This is the first I saw of the series was this one. I remember seeing a previews, and then we ended up renting it because I don't know what my sense of time was, but I just didn't have it, apparently. I didn't, saw a preview it comes out this day. We need to go see it. It was, that looks cool. And then I went on living my life. And then, I remember seeing that preview. Oh, it's out now to rent. Let's go ahead and rent it.
Yep. Now, I just had this thought, and I propose this to you. I know we refer to a lot of films as, Patient Zero, right?
Yeah.
How old were you think, when you saw this movie? I know we've had this conversation. We were, I think, both around the same age, 10, 11.
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay, so I propose to you, this poster art or cover art, whatever, is hand-drawn, is beautiful. It's kind of everything you and I love about poster art. Then you watch this movie, the violence is nowhere near realistic. It's completely over the top with geysers of blood, weird colors of things, just all this madness. Quite clearly skeleton puppets, stop motion, rear projection. every single thing that you and I have like as a criteria, like on a list of things that we just absolutely love. Do you think maybe somehow, some way, this was our patient zero for like, wow, you know what? Like that's almost like the perfect movie.
Probably, because even rewatching it, this feels like it's not even, I think it's almost a standard 90, but it feels like an hour. It feels super short. That's just because things are always moving and something's always happening. So yeah, I would probably say this is pretty, if it's not the patient zero, it is definitely one of like the big, like of 4 support beams holding up what we created. Is like, here is the structure of what we thoroughly enjoy.
Yeah, this is almost ground zero for popcorn horror. Like, I can watch this any time of day. I'm not scared. I'm thoroughly entertained. Anyone can walk through the living room at any given time and enjoy what's on screen. Like, this is just that movie for me where like I can put it on and I never have to worry about shit. I don't have to worry if my wife has company coming over, if it's going to offend them or gross them out. I don't have to worry about kids being here. Like if my son or my daughter have a friend or just them in general walking through, are they going to, they're not going to catch like a face full of tree rape or you know what I mean? Anything like that. Like,
yeah. And the only bit of nudity we have in this movie is some hardcore side boobage, but it's not, it is the most it's so not played sexually that it never even registers to me as something to shield, because we have a skeleton dragging this woman like a slave girl around. We have plans for you, girly girl. Takes all the steam out of it.
What's important, like your eyes aren't even looking at the front of the frame. Your eyes are looking deep into the frame because there's action happening there. So this stuff passes by, and if you're not really paying attention, you're not even going to catch that nipple, because the nipple is there, but it's hidden in shadow. But yeah, like...
That's Roger's MO, man. Nipple expert. If there's some legit nudity to be found, he will find it.
I will.
Titties and buttholes, he's looking for them.
I'll hit pause. I'll fucking, decrease the contrast, whatever.
That's hardcore when you're like, when you're fucking with the TV settings. You're like, yep, it's there.
Is that a titty? That's a titty. There ain't no pasty on it or nothing.
45 minutes, like, babe, what are you doing? Like, there's a nipple in here and I'm going to find it.
I am searching for the nipple of Army of Darkness. I challenge you, listener, to find the nipple.
Take the tint down by 10, raise the contrast by 3, and then if you look at a 3/4 angle at your TV from the left side, areola.
Titty. Funny, we drop the tent, I pitch a tent. Heyo, but-ching. But, I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about Tom Sullivan returning, who did the effects primarily in Evil Dead, or The Evil Dead, and did a few things for Evil Dead 2. Had really big plans to do a whole bunch of stuff in Army of Darkness. But I know I've talked to you about this, at least in a live stream structure, that Tom Sullivan was like fully on board and was getting ready to do all this stuff. But then him and his wife, they got divorced. So he was going through a really messy divorce, even though they were still friends, but they just, weren't going to be together anymore because of scheduling and like not being able to be around each other and whatnot. So he was having a rough time with that. They're divorced or getting divorced. She goes out sailing with her sister and some friends. A bad storm comes and fucking kills her. Like, so he had like a complete, breakdown and was like, I can't work on the movie. I can't do this. I can't do that. And essentially kind of went into hiding for like 10, 11 years. Just
grieving.
Yeah, got out of the art stuff, got out of working on films. And, as a result, there's a few of his touches in this movie, but not nearly as many as the previous two films. And I know you and I both have kind of talked about how his stuff is endearing because it's not so realistic, but would you have liked to see more stop motion in Army of Darkness, or you think like we've got the perfect blend?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know where I would add it, but I feel of all the movies, I don't know, stop motion I feel is very appropriate in medieval time films. Maybe that's some Clash of the Titans kind of
Jason and the Argonauts stuff right there.
Maybe it's like influencing me to want to say, I don't know where it would go, but I wouldn't be opposed to seeing, alternate cuts with that put in. But I know this was a huge production for all these guys. Even just setting up the Army of the Dead, which went from stop motion to puppets to really thin ladies that they just are able to layer skeleton mass upon, so it doesn't look too outlandish, and people like almost dropping dead from heat exhaustion. Sweating in these suits. Just a big ass production, the biggest of all the movies up to this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is definitely at that point.
Oh yeah,
was the biggest budget Sam Raimi had ever even thought about having, right? And this is a big studio film compared to Dino De Laurentiis studios for Evil Dead 2, or just them with like mob money and fucking the Evil Dead.
Renaissance Pictures.
Rosebud.
So
he had a very big budget. He had a studio structure. And I'm sure that I've seen in a documentary somewhere or whatever that, Sam finally got what he wanted. He got that studio backing. He got all that money. He got the backlots. He got every toy he could ever possibly imagine, but then was kind of like, it was bittersweet, like, oh man, this is cool, but it also kind of sucks, because there's so many people you have to answer to, and so much bullshit involved.
Oh yeah, your creative control is pretty much chopped up into
stifled,
yeah, like going from, a production team of, let's say 15, 20 people, you're pretty much running everything. And even though it's burdensome in some aspects, you adapt to it, you get to know that. And then you go to Evil Dead 2, which is, let's say, a production value of 50, 60 people. Bigger, but I mean, still, you're pretty much, you're handling it. You can still run all this. It's still like a run and gun mentality. And then you get to Army of Darkness, where it's like, all right, now you're making a real movie, kid.
Yeah, hundreds of extras. Just when I look at something like that, I think of like, man, the headache that is involved with.
I would have a hard time getting up out of bed some of the days. This was like, I mean, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know if it's the lack of a lot of power or too much on the plate to handle, but I feel like I would get out of bed easier running a team of 20 to 50 people as opposed to a huge budget production. But
thousands.
Apparently he adapted, because he never really looked back. I mean, he's not really done anything small ever since. He just kind of went up and onwards, getting all the way to his holy shit moment of making his serious bank of the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did a couple like weird little movies, like what is it?
Dark
A Simple
Man.
Plan.
Yeah.
Dark Man. A Simple Plan. Dark Man. There's another one where there's like a drama, like a haunting drama. I can't remember the title of it.
All things that would be considered hits until you look retrospectively when he gets on the Disney Marvel train.
Yeah.
By golly, that's the leave the car at the red light moment, man. You don't have to worry about anything ever again once you make a Marvel movie, let alone 3 of them motherfuckers.
Yeah, and he's doing that new Doctor Strange too.
Like, the multiverse of madness.
And that's the thing about Sam Raimi's style, is it's very much influenced by comic books and cartoons and Three Stooges and things. So him being able to play in that sandbox of comic book films, is a perfect fit. But that's a whole nother podcast for a whole nother time. We're talking about the insanity that is Army of Darkness. And boy, does this movie pull every trick possible on the viewer. And I love it so much.
I think we were, if you go back to I believe it was on our interview with James Balsamo on this very podcast, one of the things that he liked, that he brought up talking about this movie, is that he cast Bill Moseley in it. And he loves the aspect of you give Bill Moseley the silent character and you make a puppet that's next to him on a horse, give him the talking role.
That's right, because Bill Moseley only has like 2 lines.
Yeah, that's like the trivia bit about, one of the trivia bits about the movie amongst horror fans is, Bill Moseley was in Army of Darkness? What? Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, Patricia Tallman's in there too. No way.
Bosco, back of the line, nerd. Yeah, man. This movie does, and you also have Danny Hicks popping back in real quick.
Oh, he's part of the family.
Yeah,
part of that film family.
So, you'll start to see familiar faces. Obviously, Ted Raimi.
Ted's all over the place.
Sprinkled in there about 48 different fucking characters.
That's going to be my role in 3B films as they go on, as I just hope to be the Ted Raimi. The one just beat the shit and, hidden in every, 4 or 5 times in every movie.
I'm just going to have you play the Asian guy like he plays in My Name is Bruce. You can't get away with that. Well, yeah, you can.
Like Kevin Smith said, just play a really offensive Asian in one of his movies. Like, yo, you like pussy? Oh, me love pussy.
Hey, man, you can do whatever you want. I don't believe in they. When...
Who is they?
Yeah, I ever have that conversation. There's a great interview with Quentin Tarantino where he's someone was talking to him about the violence in his movies, and they don't like that, and he goes, who is they? Why do I care what they think? I make movies that I like, so I don't even know about they.
Who they are.
And I think Sam Raimi has a lot of that too. Is what pleases him, An Army of Darkness to me feels like if you were a little kid and you were playing on a dirt pile and you had a toy castle and you had a whole bunch of figures. You know what I mean? It feels like something that a kid would do. It feels like just, we got an army of skeletons coming to the castle and, blah, blah, blah. It feels like a child. And Sam Raimi is very much a child, and he just got to play in a sandbox with 1,000 extras instead of fucking G.I. Joes,
And yeah, and that's where that's where divides come in, where some folks are like, The Evil Dead is the true Sam Raimi vision. This is not that. I
disagree.
But I know we disagree. But I can totally see where the divide is of people going The Evil Dead is a hardcore balls to the wall tree raping horror film, and then in this movie we have Bruce Campbell tripped in a graveyard and has to block getting poked in the eyes, Three Stooges style, from skeletons coming from all angles of his face.
And I argue this, that every person, people are not one-dimensional, so there's many aspects that make up a person's personality. So with Sam Raimi, there's just a lot of stuff that he likes. There's a lot of stuff, if you look at A Simple Plan with Billy Bob Thornton and Bill Paxton, that is 100% pure Sam Raimi. The way it's shot, the way, it's cut together, things like that. But it doesn't have any of that slapstick fun. But you can tell visually, this is Sam Raimi, and he's having a good time, because he likes a good crime drama too. So, same thing with Darkman. Very visually different from everything else.
Yeah, that's his 50s noir kind of a comic book movie, but still elements of his Evil Dead origins there.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely there.
But just saying that there's the Evil Dead is either... It is a divided group of people who are love them all, they're all great, and then folks that are nope, we have to separate these movies, because some don't like having a real good time, and some doesn't. Same with Nightmare on Elm Street. People like it up to a certain point, and then once things turn a little bit fun and silly, they're like, nah, I'm not about that.
Right. Well, I usually get kind of thrown under under fire because, I've publicly said, like, Evil Dead 2 is my least favorite Evil Dead, even though I love it, right? But, like, it's so tonally different from the first Evil Dead that I have to be in a very specific mood for Evil Dead 2. Like, and people get real mad when they're like, oh, you don't like Evil Dead 2? It's like, no, it's not that I don't like it, because I do, but, like, I have to be in a specific mood for it. It's not a movie I can throw on all the time like Army of Darkness. Army of Darkness, there is no mood for Army of Darkness. It's just, like, first thing in the morning, last thing, or last thing you watch at night. Like, it's a I'm in a good mood movie, I guess.
Yeah, Army of Darkness is the Jason Takes Manhattan of the Friday the 13th series. You kind of got to be in the mood a little bit if you're going to go to part 4 or 7 or 5. It's just not that they're not as good or in some cases better. It's just it's whatever the formula fits for that day. It's like boom, that's what fits for this criteria. But man, we're talking about how this is maybe the most quotable film in history, and I know it's been transferred over into a lot of it's been transformed into like gaming slang too. Like it's, I know a lot of Duke Nukem players started adopting the Ash lines, but do you have one that stands out to you as a favorite line? That's not necessarily one that's like an obvious one. Do you have none are really considered a deep cut, but do you have a deep cut-ish favorite quote from this? I do. Really? What is it?
Let me back up from my microphone.
Oh shit.
Ramming speed!
You know, I can't argue that because I use that one a lot as well.
I love it. God damn, do I love the mini ashes. First of all, that's genius. But there's some shots in that sequence, like the low angle looking up at the windmill. Just pure, like, that's a fucking screenshot. That's a wallpaper. Like,
oh gosh, yes.
That is photography. Like, it's so fucking good, dude.
It is, and then you have that is totally sandwiched with like that. One of the other key things I think of that pisses off like people who don't have fun with the Evil Dead franchise is when his head gets stuck on the stove, and he's got to literally use like a fucking spatula to get his face off the stove. Like that is cartoon shit. That
is pure Three Stooges. And you know what? There's people who don't appreciate Three Stooges humor. One of them is my wife. Honestly, I have the entire collection of Three Stooges, all their movies, every episode they ever did. I have it all. And so, like, maybe a month ago, I was like, I was kind of feeling under the weather. And I was like, you know what? It's a Three Stooges kind of day. Like, I just put Three Stooges on, let it play. And she was like, this is driving me fucking crazy. Like, you got to shut this off. After about, like, 45 minutes, she was just like, I can't. You know?
Wow.
And again, it's not for everybody. Like, my kids walked through and they were like, what is this? I'm like, this is the Three Stooges. Like,
I feel the black and white element would turn them off immediately from it. Anything old, when you're a certain age, anything old is like, ugh, give me the new current shit, not this retro stuff. It's not until you get into your late 20s, I think you start dipping in a little bit.
Appreciating things,
Yeah, a little bit. So the children get a pass because, like, yeah, you'll figure it out later. The wife kind of surprises me a little bit that she's not that she dislikes the Stooges that much.
Well, you know, so she doesn't. Does she like
this movie though?
Army of Darkness? Yeah, she doesn't have a problem with this movie, but like, I think so like my wife doesn't like dick and fart joke comedy, and she also doesn't like ridiculously slapstick humor. So I'm like, I don't know what you like.
Boy, I don't know
when
either.
It comes to comedy because, you know, I like all forms of comedy, whether it's physical or whether it's just, you know, ridiculous dialogue, whatever. Like,
so does she not like Mel Brooks movies?
Oh no, she likes Mel Brooks movies. I just don't know if it's. I just think it's a Three Stooges thing, maybe.
I really don't have a clue then. If I was in a Saw-trapped situation, I would not know what fucking comedy movie that your wife would like or dislike. It's like,
Forgetting Sarah Marshall. She loves Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Really?
I think all women do. You get to see Jason Segal's Wang Dang Doodle.
I mean, I just don't get it.
I don't know. I love that movie too.
Yeah, it's a fine movie. I actually watched it a couple days ago. Actually, hate Russell Brand's character.
Oh, he's a fuck.
I absolutely love him and get him to the Greek, but my God, I don't know how to pin.
I don't like Russell Brand in general, so
he's all right in that one movie, but yeah, that's strange that she's. How is she around the rest of the franchise? Does she like Evil Dead 1 or 2?
Yeah, I think she likes that remake a lot, but I think she's getting fucking just dead tired of the first Evil Dead because it's literally my movie. Like, hey, I gotta paint this prop with some blood paint. Better throw on Evil Dead.
Oh, so it's the Elm Streets for me around the house. We're like, again.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and it drives everyone in the house crazy because they're like, "You're really watching this again?" I'm like, "Yeah." Didn't you just watch it like 2 days ago? Yeah. I was working on a prop 2 days ago. Like, it's really hard for I don't want to say not creative people because my wife is a very creative person, but like, I think it's hard for people to understand like when you're like in your creative mood or mode, everybody kind of has their thing.
Oh yeah, everybody's got go-tos.
Yep, and Evil Dead is mine. And I know like you do like the Elm Street franchise or you do like the Elm Street soundtracks or scores.
The wife totally listens to when she's researching or doing stuff like that. Like, or when she was writing her books, she'll listen to classical music.
Nice. I listen to synthwave when I write because it makes me feel like I'm in the 80s.
She's part of that. Well, if it's literally, I feel like I'm in the fucking scene from Seven where Morgan Freeman's doing all the research in the library. Is when she's working on shit with her music playing. Like, she'll listen to regular, stuff of her playlist, but when she's working and in that creative zone, it's generally classical music that she has playing because it helps her.
Stimulate the mind.
Same way, yeah. For everyone's got their own cup of coffee, and yours just happens to be The Evil Dead.
Speaking of people who just kind of have their own cup of coffee, I think this movie was the movie that made me realize, you already brought her up, Patricia Tallman.
Yeah.
I had only really known her from the Night of the Living Dead remake. And it was this movie when I watched the credits and found out that she was the Deadite that kind of led me down this weird rabbit hole where I figured out that Patricia Tallman is a stunt woman. And then I went down that rabbit hole with like, oh, she replaces the girl who gets fucking sucked up by the goo in Creepshow 2. Like, I had no idea that she was a stunt woman. I don't know how I segued into that, but yeah, that was one of those things.
Because she's just in this movie, and this is around the time you start looking in the credits. Well, some of us. I still wasn't, but you look into the credits and start looking up what else these folks have done, in literal medieval times when you didn't have a Google phone. You had to actually do legwork to find a filmography of somebody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it was like a lot of that shit was like word of mouth, too. Like one of your buddies would be like, that girl shows her boobs in this movie or whatever, and so you go to the store and try to rent it or that like Don the Dragon Wilson, he's in this movie, and so like I would go down those weird rabbit holes of like trying to acquire all the films that certain people I liked were in, or like search them out on the TV Guide to record them and shit.
Wow, what a different world. That's just a lifetime ago.
Yeah,
so much work we had to do for so little payoff.
Yeah, well, just to be able to see a movie,
Hence why you'll go through all the trouble to find the nipple on the slave girl.
Oh, yeah. Any nipple will do.
any will do. But like I said, way back when we started this show, this series, This was my introduction to it, and this has always been a comfort food movie, because it'll take me immediately back to watching it with Dad. And of course, since I don't have him anymore, I always feel like he's there with me when I throw this movie on. And of course, to do the family legacy bit, this is the one I introduced my youngest to, was Army of Darkness, and she absolutely dug it. And slowly, I've started just this past year, introduced her to Evil Dead 2. She's watched some of the TV series with me. I'm curious what she'll think when the game comes out here real soon, because as of this recording, we're still about less than a week away from the release of Evil Dead the game. So it's been just a part of the family lineage throughout time for my crew, and all the reasons why I decided at one point I had to get an Army of Darkness tattoo. Had to get something. And initially when I went to my tattoo shop, I was like, I wanted to put it on my forearm, like from my elbow down to my wrist, just take up the whole forearm, wrap it around. And my artist at the time said, yeah, it's not going to look as good because you're going to have to turn your arm to see the whole thing. I think it's time you make a serious commitment to me. I was like, all right, what you got in mind? He's like, full back. I'm like, okay. And over the course of a year, only was able to afford, technically probably about half of it. And he's like, we're going to get the rest of this finished, because he wanted me to submit it to a competition that year. Didn't win, but that's how I ended up getting a full Army of Darkness back tattoo of this movie poster.
And it's a beast. It is massive.
It's a beast. So disappointing when I typed in Evil Dead tattoos on Google and see that other people have done it. I'm like, God damn it, I thought I was the only one.
You sons of bitches.
Stole it.
Going back to this kind of being like a family film, I actually have somewhere, I've got this picture of Tyson when he's got to be 3, and he's standing on our couch, and he's in his underwear, and the camera is behind him, looking at his back, and he's watching Army of Darkness. And it is just the coolest picture ever. Like, he's just standing there in his underwear, just fucking absorbed into this movie. Because there was like a good 2-3 year stretch where this was like, he would just always ask, there's 3 movies he'd always ask: Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Army of Darkness, and Maximum Overdrive. He wanted to watch them all the time. And so, like, we got to where we could just quote those movies constantly, even as little as 2-3 years old, And so he loves Ash, but he's really only seen Army of Darkness and a few episodes of Ash vs. Evil Dead, because I still kind of think that the other 2 may be a little too scary for him.
Maybe. He's probably getting close to where Evil Dead 2 might be an option, because literally I did not break out Evil Dead 2 until this past year for my 12-year-old's almost soon to be 13. Good Lord. But don't have no pictures of her watching it, but I did have the proud moment of watching her watch it, and I will never ever forget when Ash is jumping up out of the pit and gets the chainsaw lock into his stump. I look out of the corner of my eye, I can see her power fist. Yes. I'm like, ooh, I could have a tear roll down my eye now. It has carried on. Same thing in the series, right when he first gets the chainsaw back on his hand, another power fist, and I'm like, it's continuing.
Yep. It'll be going on long after we're gone, I'll tell you that.
So what we're saying is, if you have any children out there and you're not sure what to start them with, and you're listening to us for advice on that, heaven help you, but this is probably the best advice we can give you, is start with this movie. Because I know another podcast I listened to years ago covered this movie, and I wrote into him and told him about it, and he had mentioned on that podcast how a lot of people contacted him and saying that this was a movie that they watched with their dads or with family members, and how it's just got a sentimental value to it. And that's just that's a unique thing. everybody's got everybody's got their flavor of popcorn, but it's just it's interesting that so many people in the world are like, this was their bonding movie.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's because it's so lighthearted and like, I don't like to use the term like magical, but I feel like this is a very magical movie, and it's because of all of those, all those check marks that it checks off for us, with all the good stuff, with the matte paintings, the puppets, the forced perspective and miniatures and blah blah blah. Like, if you've listened to us for any period of time, you know that just how much that stuff means to us. And I think really little kids, it strikes a chord in little kids, and because your hero, no matter how foolish he is, he comes out on top. Pure like I'm rooting for this guy fun in this movie. And yeah, it never goes too dark. There's never like a moment in the movie where you're like, whoa, that might be too dark. Like, the closest thing you get is Evil Ash when he first comes to life and says, I live again. Like, to me, that's as spooky as this movie gets. Air quotes, spooky.
I remember back when I was introducing this to a friend of mine, like back in grade school, and he almost was not able to handle the eye coming out of the shoulder blade. Yeah. Like, so it's got mild elements, but they're so brief, and then you're just immediately replaced with other things. And it's that weird, like we've always said, it's that weird balance of taking it seriously, but it's played for laughs. Like, perfect example of that is Ash shooting Evil Ash at point blank range with a double barrel shotgun up the nose. Mm-hmm. And it's how Evil Ash bounces off that tree.
Clearly fake fucking stage tree.
That just makes it money. Absolute money. And man, does the redone line of that work way better than the original line.
What was the original line?
The original line is like, because Evil Ash is, I'm bad Ash, you're good Ash, little goody two shoes. And after he gets shot off the tree, Ash throws the gun over his shoulder and goes, I'm not that good.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I like good, bad. I'm the guy with the gun.
Way better line. And that's so things that would definitely appeal to my dad's personality type, is always having a cool line to say, playing it silly, unflappable, but goofy in the exact same moment. And that moment is one that he liked. And he also, just like in Evil Dead 2, when Ash is cutting his hand off, he's like, oh man, that'd be horrible, wouldn't it? Says the exact same thing when the mini Ash gets swallowed. Yeah. And he's drinking that boiling water.
How about some hot chocolate, huh?
Another moment where he would turn like, God damn, that's horrible, isn't it? Like, that'd be brutal. And, we've all eaten, a cooked too long Hot Pocket.
Oh, yeah.
So I can imagine now, like, yeah, he's not tasting shit for the rest of this film.
Take a sip of some hot tea and just fucking ruin the roof of your mouth and all your taste buds.
Just pour some boiling water in your mouth. I think that might kill you.
Yeah, that would really fuck you up, dude. That wouldn't. You'd end up sounding like Steve-O. Yeah, dude.
You're gonna sound like Steve-O, or you're gonna sound. I'm the guy with the gun.
Like to sound like the dude from RoboCop.
I just want ice to rest on my mouth. Like, that's how he should be sounding when he gets back with the Book of the Dead to the castle. Like, get the heck out of my face. I can't. I said the word. He probably could get away with that shit too. Like, I tried to say next to though. I said him.
That's one of my favorite parts in the movie, is him having to pick the right book and then getting sucked into that book. That is the most perfect sight gag in this movie. Like, realizing his face is stretched and then doing the whole shake.
I thought, because I felt this when I was a kid. I was with him in the moment where the first book is a fail, and he's between the book that's on like the cross and the book that's higher up, and it's literally he goes for the book You're like, no, it's this one. And the exact same. And like, I can still remember that being like, don't pick that one. You pick the one on the cross. Like, yeah, don't fool me. Like, just because it's up higher, it's you ain't getting me. It's gonna be this one right here. Shit, it's not.
The fucking
flapping around. Again, you have more. Yeah, we have a stop motion book attacking him.
See, it's stuff like that. It's just those noises, right? That's not necessarily something you can write down as a quote, but you know exactly what I'm doing. Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah, you know exactly. Like, we could just fucking make those noises, and you're like, that's Army of Darkness.
And yeah, he gets sucked into a hole in the first book, and he's got to like put his fucking fingers on his chin and like shake his head to get it back to its original shape. Like, that is as cartoon as it gets, where his face is stuck in a position. He has to find a way to get it back to normal. Yeah. I love how just like that cut scene is just like, whoa, wrong book.
And then another thing, which we haven't even brought up yet, we haven't brought up Henry the Red, but the pit, right? That's another one of those things that when they're marching the slaves and throwing them into the pit, and the geysers of blood are just fucking flowing out of this pit. So as a kid, you know, watching that, you're like, Jesus, what's down there? Like, what is shooting that much blood up, right? And then when he finally goes down there, like, you're kind of on pins and needles.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then you see, like, you know, the scrawny witch Deadite, and then, like, the Troll 2 type fucking Deadite.
It stays in an Evil Dead 2 spot until that Deadite starts punching him. When he grabs his shoulder and starts punching him in the face, we're in a different film now.
Yeah, we sure
are. But still, and it even worked on Sam Raimi. The Deadite that comes out the wall, I remember, scares everybody that watches it for the first time. Like, oh, because it's not expected. And I think even Sam on set was like, I don't want necessarily that in there. And they totally played like that scene in the movie and like had him come out and grab Sam and actually scared him. Like, oh, Joe, I'm putting that in my movie. I'm going to do that now. Hey, buddy, you're going to be in my movie.
Hey, buddy.
Because Sam Raimi doesn't learn anyone's name. It's always buddy, pal, or hey, you.
Yep, with that fucking accent. I can't do it, but yeah, you know what I'm saying.
But that's where the shift officially happens, where it's becoming a sillier movie from those punches on. You
know, and then like immediately following that, or maybe it's right before that, when the one slave tries to make a break for it, and they kill him.
Oh, that's before.
Yeah, right before Ash goes in.
Yeah.
You get the pure Sam Raimi like Ramo cam, but it's arrow cam, you know, and that is it's that stuff where you're like, this motherfucker literally like taped a fucking arrow to the fucking Steadicam and just ran at that dude, like, and it works like fucking gangbusters, dude. It's so good. Like, that's the type of stuff where you're like, okay, Sam Raimi is at the helm. You're only seeing that in a Sam Raimi movie for sure.
And same aspect when we get to the battle at the end of the movie where they're firing the gunpowder arrows. And I love we have the one you can't really see it. Even in, I was hoping that the Blu-ray I'd be able to see it better, like what the hell's going on. But we follow one of the catapult bags of explosives. And it's like we're following from the from the explosives perspective, and we just see it going through the battlefield, and I'm not even sure where the fuck or what it lands on, but it blows up on something. But so many good shots there. I fucking love. Even WWE stole this shit for oddly enough one of Triple H's King of King entrances, when that skeleton is on the battlefield and just gets the glowing light around him before he gets blown up. Stole that shit and put it in Triple H's entrance video for King of Kings. Go back to his original use of that. That fucker's in there like, that shit's from Army of Darkness. Triple H stole that shit.
WWE, you're getting sued.
I mean, they're quick to get rid of anytime we use the snippiest of clips of their shit on our live shows. So it's time to flip it around and be like, you owe Sam Raimi and the Army of Darkness some money, motherfuckers.
Yeah, you do. Quit
We can't
stealing.
get it. We can't get it from Lemmy. He's not here no more. We can get it from Triple H. He tried to punch out early, but he's still here, motherfuckers. You owe money.
Mm-hmm.
You give it,
God,
because he wants it.
we want it. Sam Raimi deserves it. Yeah, and we also kind of got to talk about not Linda in this movie, and I'm blanking on her name. You know, his new love interest,
Sheila.
Sheila. There you go. Yeah, baby, you got real ugly. You know, he pushes her away and pushes her away because she hurts him because she thinks he's responsible for the death of her brother. And then
Hits him in the back of the head with a fucking rock, which, man.
which would kill him in real life.
Yeah, I used to think, oh, they're really playing up him hitting the back of the head, him being kind of fucking. I'm like, no, he's concussed now. That right on like that's a real vulnerable part of the skull. At base
There's
of
a
the
reason strikes to the back of the head are illegal in the UFC. You're not.
Yeah,
Because
that
it
maybe
will fuck you up.
maybe that's the reason he's so goddamn silly and goofy from the rest of this movie. It's all Sheila's fault from this fucking rock she threw at his head.
Maybe he's just in a coma and is just dreaming all this shit. But yeah, so Sheila ends up being, whatever, smoozed by him and fucking sleeps with him before he goes on his mission to save the kingdom or whatever, and then she becomes an evil deadite.
Part-time possessed. I say, like any other Evil Dead movie, you're possessed until we cut you up into pieces. This one,
Unless your name's Ash, and then your possession can fucking come and go.
Yeah, the power of love always overcomes the possession angle. So even
God
works
damn
when
it.
it's someone he really, really cares about. So I guess
But it didn't work for Linda.
Well, maybe he didn't really care that much for Linda after all. Or
Right.
it's before he knew how this shit worked, you know? Kind of like how you start when you start a new video game. You're going to get your ass kicked the first few times. But once you figure out how shit works, you're like, oh, okay, now I can avoid this.
But I always kind of thought she was kind of creepy in a lighthearted way when she's a deadite or half deadite, whatever. Like, and her makeup is very simple. It's just fucking
Super,
pale,
Yeah.
minimal pale, and then dark circles around the eyes and big
fucking
hair.
forehead.
And and some contacts. And I always thought
Yeah.
it was kind of a creepy look. Like, if you look at stills from, like, Fangoria issues or whatever, they come across more frightening than what she comes across in the movie. But again, that's just the tone of the movie.
Speaking of that, have you ever heard of some folks that didn't realize that Ash that comes back is Ash? Like, some people
Oh,
did
yeah.
not.
Because it looks like he has long hair and shit. It looks weird.
He does have long hair, and I love the, like, the other chin that's sticking so far out. We get the row of bottom teeth, and then his other teeth are behind that. But yeah, I never was confused. I always was like, yeah, they just played up the he's been dead for a while thing.
Yeah, he's rotten. Yeah.
But there's some folks like, wait, that was the Ash from earlier that he shot in the face?
Like, yeah, that's why. Yeah.
That's why his face is all fucked up. He shouldn't have any teeth. He shouldn't have any teeth or a nose, but I mean,
Yeah. Pick yourselves up and Sally. Sally. That's another
Man.
one of those that I say all the time, and my wife even gets tired of me doing that.
could you even imagine? This is one of the times I would be kind of interested in what CG he would wield. But if he was to make Army of Darkness today, what Evil Ash's face might look like with today's CG and prosthetics. I think it'd be a much darker look.
I don't know, man. We talked about that with the Elm Street 2010, like the mix of practical and CG, and how that
Yeah.
CG was just so unnecessary.
But I feel that I could make the argument the difference there is Nightmare on Elm Street went to so many different hands. There was no original person with a thumbprint still on that production. With Sam being his baby, his franchise, his movie, I feel he wouldn't let shit, slip like that.
I don't know, man. CGI always makes me wary because, even just like you said, or you always say, like, CGI is like a car you drive off the lot. Like, the second you drive it off the lot, it starts depreciating in value, and CGI will always be like that. In our lifetime, CGI will never be so good you can't tell.
But I feel he would use it. This is where I think it would work, like how they use it with prosthetics. Like how they used it in the 2010 Elm Street to take away part of Freddy's face. Use that same kind of mentality and take away like part of the nose, upper lip and shit, where that shotgun blast took place.
Like Harvey Dent and fucking Dark Knight.
A little bit, yeah. Kind of like that.
Even that looks fake to me. But I see what you're saying.
That's a million times better though
than Freddy.
Yeah, than Freddy or anything else CG related in that movie.
Yeah.
I feel like mostly prosthetics, but I think he could use some CG in spots, like particularly that shotgun blast to the face post Evil Ash, that I think would look pretty gnarly. I think it would take it back to a darker Evil Dead 2 tone film. It wouldn't be as slapsticky if it was done today.
I don't know. Perhaps. We are getting a new Evil Dead film. Sam Raimi is behind the Evil Dead Rise. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes, and we'll be all over it.
I am curious, after covering this is our third franchise, when the time will come we get to return to a franchise with a new entry. We started with Friday, we've done Elm Street, now we're on the Dead of Evil. What's gonna be the first one we have to revisit? It'll be
Evil Dead.
It's gonna fuck up our. Well, who knows, man? Who knows? How long are we waiting for Top Gun 2?
Well, actually, it'd be Halloween if we start covering the Halloween films, because we got Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, which just wrapped shooting, I believe.
It never ends.
No, but this trilogy will.
Same chapter, same different book, same chapter. Mm-hmm. Same chapter, different book.
So, yeah, and then we got Texas Chainsaw we still have to cover. So, we'll see.
Long ways to go. So, we talked about silly moments and scenes. Do you like just like a favorite line, do you have a standout scene that's a deep cut for you that you really dig? Because first one I think of that I always like is, it's a short sequence of when Ash is trying to get to the top of the castle to save the book. It's right after his car blows up for the second time, which holy shit, is he the ultimate mechanic to get this fucking Delta working after it fell from the sky.
Right. Fell from another dimension.
Yeah, and I also like how his windmill in the front of that like torpedoes guys in the wrong direction. Like it should drag them underneath it and fling them the other way, but it shoots them backwards. I don't know how that works. But after his car blows up, he gets out of the car and he fends off like the 3 skeletons, like pulls one off the girl that's trying to kill her and throws her, gets punched in the face, punches one back. And my favorite, the skeleton with the knife they throw at him off camera.
Oh, yeah.
And he just cracks it over his back, straight up backbreaker, smashes it, and flings it to the side. I'm like, oh, that is fucking perfection.
If I have to pick like a favorite, just small sequence, it's gonna be his entry into the windmill. I love that. I love the use of the frenetic camera and the way it's edited with him holding the door and screaming, and the close up of the door breaking, close up of his face, close up of his hands, and then it stops, and then we get that fucking great shot of the windmill that I was talking about earlier. Like, that is so fucking good, and everything about it just screams Sam Raimi. It's scary, it's funny, and it's slapstick all at the same time. Like, and it just uses all of his editing techniques and miniatures and forced perspective and all of it, all right there.
It's pretty good.
So that's my favorite.
We had to think of I did definitely want to get what a favorite scene was, because every scene is, everyone knows every scene of this movie. This may be the most redundant show to cover in a podcast, because everybody sees it, everybody knows it. There's not an aspect that's not been covered.
What's funny is both of our sequences that we just chose are both so inherently Sam Raimi. It's not even funny. Like, Sam Raimi is the kind of guy who's like, yeah, just fucking throw a dummy at him. You know what I mean? Like, just beat Bruce with a dummy. Throw a dummy at him and let him fuck it up. Like, that is so Three Stooges Sam Raimi, like, perfection. So it's crazy. We both, like, just, the movie just drips Sam Raimi style, obviously, because it's his, but...
It is, and I don't know what else you could say about it. It's the purest of Sam Raimi's silliness. Nobody can really hate this. If you don't like this movie,
check your pulse.
You're already dead. I feel it's a surface level. Like, you just don't like it maybe because it's a popular thing in some circles to not.
There's a lot of people like that.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it's just a good goddamn time. When we talk about a good goddamn time movie, this is the lowest of hanging fruits.
See, like, I think if you don't like this movie, there's got to be something wrong with you. Really, to be honest with you, like. Because I feel like if you say you don't like this movie, but you're into film in general, then I think you're lying. Like, everything about this movie just screams, like, filmmaker. It screams creative, you know? Like, again, using all the tricks and you know, whatnot. Like, this is, like, the purest encapsulation of filmmaking by using every fucking chapter in the book that you would learn in film school. Like, oh, check it off, check it off, check it off, check it off. Like, it's so visually pleasing and fun. It's like, maybe you don't like the dialogue or whatever, but like, from a filmmaking aspect, it's fucking phenomenal.
I don't know if Sam's the type of guy to do it, but I know Kevin Smith is totally the guy that would be like, I would stop maybe every day on a shoot and be like, we're doing make-believe, like, we're having fun, this is fun, let's have fun today.
Yeah.
That, I feel, is Sam may not say that like every day of a shooting, but is definitely, it's in his work here. Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing. I was just telling my wife about it last night. Quentin Tarantino has a quote that he does too. When they're shooting, he'll be like, okay, that was great, that was perfect, that was the best take, but we're going to do one more. You know why? And then the whole crew will go, because we love making movies. And it's like, the whole crew will yell it. And it's like, that's what
Perfect.
You need, man. You need,
absolutely.
You need 100 people that got your fucking back, who are having the time of their life, even though it's hot and fucking sweaty, and you've been standing up for fucking 18 hours, but you're having fun, because you're playing pretend. You're literally playing with action figures, except it's extras.
and yeah, don't be that guy in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, the faux director that's making Good Will Hunting 2. He's just sitting there on the director's chair counting his money. Man, I'm busy. Jesus, I'm busy. Leave me alone here.
Yeah, don't be that director.
So speaking of fun, and not a downer of sorts, which ending do you prefer? And why?
Well, I think I prefer the theatrical ending, because it lets Ash be a hero, and it ends on a kind of a positive note. Like, even though the Deadites are there, it's it seems positive, because it's like he's got this under control. He's got the girl grabbing his leg. You know what I mean? Like,
that was like, oh, he finally got a woman that's not going to be killed, or he has to leave in another time zone.
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't know what happens once those credits roll, but
yeah, we know. Yeah,
I don't think she made it.
Well, we don't necessarily know. All we know is that Ash is no longer working at S-Mart when we catch up with him down the road. He's working at, what is it, the Bargain Mart or something like that?
Yeah.
Whole different store doing the same stock boy shit in his fucking late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also enjoy the theatrical ending. I prefer it. It's weird that both the original trilogy and the series ends the same way, where it's going to be medieval Mad Max style, insanity. We never actually get to see because the movie's over or the show is canceled.
Mm-hmm.
But I do enjoy this ending inside S-Mart better. I love the cocking of this fucking shotgun.
Yeah.
Unrealistic as hell. That he has a side holster for a fucking rifle that's the length of his leg. And again, another one of Dad's lines. He loved the lady, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to ask you to leave the store.
Yep.
Yeah, chock full of lines, but there's just a few that always hit a nostalgic spot. That's gonna be one of them. Is I'm afraid I'm gonna have to ask you to leave the store. So better ending for me is the theatrical. But I'd be lying if I'd say I wouldn't like to finally see one day. Maybe that'll be what Evil Dead Rises. Maybe we'll finally quit the playing around and get the Mad Max Evil Dead movie that's been teased twice over now.
I don't know, man. I have no idea. I've been very, cautious to avoid any, plot points or anything. All I know is it takes place in a high-rise, which has got me thinking Poltergeist 3, which the whole world hates except for me. I love Poltergeist 3, so,
It is the Freddy's Nightmares of Poltergeist movies.
It's so fucking good, though.
It's good, but it almost feels fever dreamish a little bit. When I say something is like Freddy's Dead or Freddy's Nightmares, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's it's a little confusing and a little fever dreamish.
Mm-hmm.
Like every episode of that fucking show is. Streaming free on Tubi, by the way. Go on Tubi and watch Freddy's Nightmares. I made it through 4 episodes.
You mean
Tubi?
It doesn't have the same ring to it as...
No, it sounds
Shudder.
ridiculous. Tubi. I'm watching the Nightmares on Tubi.
There you go. Your name is Tubi.
Freddy's Nightmares. Tubi.
Jesus
Or no,
Christ.
what was this? What was the service started on? Was it Screenbox?
Yeah, Screambox.
You're streaming on Screenbox. Tubi. Screenbox. Tubi.
We're going to hell. Fuck. How did we get talking about roots up in this motherfucker?
It's what the Deep Cut Podcast does. We'll
That is
string
what we
together things that shouldn't go together, but we will find a way. Like life.
Life finds a way, Evil. And it finds its way into our next segment, which is what, Evil?
There's no gentle way to say it. It's time for the Amazon 1-star reviews.
Hated it.
Oh boy. So
These are going to cut you deep, huh?
nah.
Nah.
I kid. I love the 1 stars. If it's a movie more near and dear to me, the 1 stars I look forward to even more. I'm like, yes, punish me. I don't know. So from R. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, I don't know, Richard Kennedy, Rocky Kennedy, I don't know, it could be any one of these guys. But on September 20th, 2014, R. Kennedy says 1 star, and I totally think of the gif of Randy Orton when he says this. Stupid. Incredibly stupid. How did it get 4 stars?
How did it get this stupid?
So R. Kennedy out there to do his best to knock this movie down from its 4-star rating to lower, which good luck to you, buddy.
Yeah. The world loves this movie.
This guy might piss you off.
Uh-oh.
But laugh at the same time. Because it's the most pointless shit ever. From Ansel Hammer. on November 1st, 2015. 1 star. Not worth a review.
Is there more to that?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's not
there you
worth
go.
a review, but it's at least worth enough to tell us it's not worth a review.
It's worth, hitting stop on your DVD player, going over to your computer, logging into Amazon, searching this movie, clicking write review, click 1 star, and then write not worth a review. Wow.
It's to me that's like it's like 40-year-old virgin when he's going through like, I really wanted an egg salad sandwich, and once I got the eggs prepped and the paprika and the accoutrement, it took like 4.5 hours. By the time I was done, I really didn't want an egg salad sandwich anymore. Like, once I got the computers fired up and I actually logged into Amazon, I got to Army of Darkness, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do my thing now, and I just don't want to do this anymore.
Yep. Back when, what year did that review take place?
2014, I believe, or 2015.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I mean, internet was not lightning fast like it is today.
2015, yes. 2014
So
was the incredibly stupid one.
Probably took a minute to get to Amazon.
What in the world's going on? My 1 stars are going crazy on me.
Uh-oh.
I think it's somebody from beyond the grave fucking with me, talking about Army of Darkness. Son, you love this movie. Quit saying bad things about it.
Quit talking bad about it.
Quit talking bad about it. Well, I'll just do one more because I only have one more because it's not a tremendous feat to find a bunch of 1 stars, because there's some that are just pretty generic and not a whole lot to say. Then we have this one to round them out from Rob VK. This might hurt you a little bit just from the date. January 6th, 2000.
And beyond.
So,
Wow.
nothing like
22 fucking years ago.
for comparison here, I was just recently at a shop that had a bar in the back of it where they sold various vodkas and whiskeys, and the most expensive one they had on the shelf was $1,000 bottle, and it was aged 26 years. So much like a fine wine or whiskey, here's a 22-year-old review on Army of Darkness from Rob VK. 1 star, Army of Dumbness. This movie was absolutely the dumbest horror movie ever made. I suggest for any who thinks this is that this is scary to watch, The Exorcist. Then you'll really get the hell scared out of you. I have to admit it. Oh, yeah. I have to admit, though, that the movie did make me laugh, and nobody could have made it better than Bruce Campbell. The movie might have made it bigger if it was located in the comedy section of a video store. And I have to go back, and he says The Exorcist, he actually, I don't know if I can even say how he spells it. Exorcist? EXCORCIST. And to me, that is like comparing weed to like heroin.
Yeah, that is not a good comparison at all.
Like, yeah, that's one's one thing, one's entirely another there, sir.
Yeah.
But okay. But
it is a horror comedy. Like, this
It
guy
is.
is not familiar with the franchise, I don't think.
yeah, I should have followed him. I wonder if he ever wrote a review for Return of the Living Dead. I wonder what he would think
Right.
about that.
Wonder what he thought about Drag Me to Hell.
Wonder what he thought about Repossessed.
Oh boy, I just recently picked that up.
You know, I've only watched that probably 2 or 3 times, and I probably need to see it again and determine whether or not it's something I need to own. I know there's a wrestling sequence in it with Jesse Ventura and I think Mean Gene Okerlund. So it's a crime I don't have it just on those merits alone.
Right.
But that's the conclusion of the Amazon Uno star reviews for Army of Dumbness.
Got him. So dumb. Well, now that you're done with the Amazon 1-star reviews, Evil, what does that mean?
Could be going down, but we're going to go up. It's time to play the game.
Time to play the game. Time to play the game.
It's all about the game and how you play it. Buckle up, bonehead, cause you going for a ride.
Oh, that is excellent.
Dad's favorite of favorite lines was buckle up, bonehead, cause you're going for a ride.
Oh man, it is indeed time to play the game. And if you're new here, welcome. And you're probably like, what is the game? Well, let me break it down for you. The game is in and of itself a deep cut. You have to pick a prop from the film, but it cannot be a well-known prop. It has to be a deep cut. So, since we're covering the Evil Dead franchise, you can't say, I want Ash's chainsaw, I want the Delta, I want the Necronomicon. Those are all low-hanging fruit, and you absolutely cannot pick them. So, as Evil likes to say, go deep or
Get fucked, Four Eyes.
I don't know what he meant by that. So that's right. You got to pick a prop from the movie, and it can't be a well-known prop. Let us know in the comments on Spotify. Let us know in the comments on our Patreon. Let us know in our Discord. Find us. Find a way, because we want to know what you pick. We want to know if anyone's playing this game out there with us. So, yeah.
Go to our live stream on our YouTube channel where we covered this movie some time back and tell us on there, like, I just listened to the podcast. Here's my deep cut prop.
Yes, let us know. Find us. 3B Video on YouTube. But,
Yes, because believe it or not, this is not the first time we talked about this film.
Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I think we've covered this at least 4 or 5 different times, because I know I did a recommends for it. Yeah. But either way, Evil, you want to start off the prop game? Pick a little something?
I'm going to take the chemistry book he has out the trunk of the Delta.
Oh, very nice.
He's going to change. Nice. He's going to change. Like, I'm sure Doc Brown would have a conniption fit over this, but he's changing the past with, like, introducing explosives to medieval times before it was a thing that was to be discovered necessarily. So he is changing world history without changing world history.
Yeah, great, Scott. Oh, yeah, fucking everything up.
You can't alter the course of history. The results could be disastrous.
Dude, this movie's tough.
If you fucking thought stepping on a fucking bug would
Look at The
alter,
Simpsons.
would alter the course of time where donuts are raining from the sky. Imagine if you introduced explosive elements to the masses before they were ready for it.
Yeah, you're fucking a lot of shit up. There's so many fucking props in this movie. There's so many weird things, dude. This is really tough. This is really tough on me.
Nah, it ain't. Just pick the first thing that pops in your head.
Well, there's plenty. I think what I really want is the fork that Ash throws into that little Ash. Because that is probably my favorite sequence in the whole movie, is all the stuff that takes place in that windmill. I just have a really good time with it. And, again, it would be low-hanging fruit to pick, like, his metal hand, his chainsaw, his shotgun. So, a weapon that Bruce Campbell wielded to kill a mini Bruce Campbell, I'm in.
I mean, yeah, if you thought it was outlandish that he found a way to mechanically alter a chainsaw to fit and operate on his stump out of a shed in a cabin in the woods, he is in medieval times and makes a robotic goddamn hand.
Yeah,
Why
and he also makes a helicopter car.
Yeah. So, bumbling idiot, he is not. This is an idiot savant who apparently is a high-tech engineer who can make robot hands and, Mad Max style automobiles. So he's a
fucking
genius.
Rain Man.
He's just an eccentric. He's Howard Hughes, man. He's an eccentric genius.
Wapner. 10 minutes till Wapner.
That's what we're dealing with here. So we're killing that now immediately. Ash is not a bumbling idiot. He is an idiot savant who is able to construct the ultimate of weapons with. He's the original MacGyver.
I wager that he was a bumbling idiot until he got hit with that rock.
Then it's like that coma shit where you're in a coma and you wake up and you can speak Greek all of a sudden now. Like you learn a different language in a comatose state. So that rock made him kind of stupid, but it's like, I can make robots now.
KO, Durf. Oh, fuck. Well, now that we've spent about an hour talking about the movie, and we've done our Amazon 1-star reviews, and we've picked our props.
We're done with the series, right?
Not quite. We still got that remake.
Oh, no, the remake.
I'm going to have a lot of fun when we talk about that bad boy in 2 weeks. So
I have to actually take the time of 2 weeks to rewatch it because it's actually been a long time since I revisited the 2013 Evil Dead, which may or may not be continually. Is that the word I'm looking for? Continuity tied to this thing? We don't know. Continuity. We just made a new one up.
There is no nudity in 2013's Evil Dead. Sad state of affairs.
I wish.
But we'll be back in 2 weeks to go back to the cabin, a slightly different cabin with a slightly different Necronomicon and slightly different protagonists. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on that note, I suppose we should get going. Because after all, there's a lot of movies out there, and somebody's got to watch them. So why not us, right?
Retreat! Retreat! Get the hell out of here!